the rent control people, the people that need rent control, they're not the ones that are protected. It's people that are usually wealthy with a lot of influence that have the connections to get a rent control apartment. People that might need it, they don't have rent control apartments.
Well, that's a little facile. I mean, that's a little bit like saying, those people are out of work because they're lazy. Back to this lawsuit. So you hire Roy Cohn, and he goes to work, and you win it. Cohn doesn't like lawyers either because they always want to settle, and you don't like that about lawyers. The idea of settling drove me crazy. The fact was that we did rent to blacks in our buildings. What we didn't do was rent to welfare cases, white or black. I'd watched what happened when the government came after Samuel Lafrac, another builder, and he caved in and started taking welfare cases. They virtually ruined his buildings. Welfare cases ruined his buildings. Aren't you pretty close here to looking like an insensitive guy from atop your Trump Tower looking down on the Woolman Rink over the vast holdings of your own empire? Shouldn't we have just a little more understanding from a man of your influence and wealth on the issue of making New York livable for all of us, safety on the subway? If the answer is absolutely, then we can't continue to give you guys these big tax breaks, and that would go for General Electric and NBC too. You tell us in your own book that you would make money on the Trump Tower in New York, but when everybody without the tax breaks.
So when everybody else in the city gets it but Donald Trump, when Koch and the administration tries to stop Donald Trump.
Think about what he's saying here in this interview with Phil Donahue from 1987.
When he was 2.5, my grandmother got very ill. Donald, who was at a very, very critical point in his development as a child, was essentially abandoned by her. He may not entirely trust women. He finds it difficult, if not impossible, to connect with them on any deep level.
When you ask him about how she showed her love, he has nothing to say.
Young Donald had his own crisis, finding his place in a family dominated by his father, Fred, a stern and demanding real estate developer.
Donald's father's overall message to his children was, and it was a very different message to the boys than to the girls. To the boys was compete, win, be a killer. Do what you have to win.
He was determined to live up to his father's ideal, be a killer. But he was also tempestuous, impulsive, and at 13, his father sent him to military school. It would be a 5-year lesson in how to be a bully.
He became a leader of the cadets. He became one of the student leaders who had a number of kids under him in the dormitories, and he ruled the dormitory life with an iron fist.
When you take this into consideration,
Trump says he has learned from his mistakes in business and in love.
I think that putting a wife to work is a very dangerous thing. I mean, we'll do an educational program here, okay? If you're in business for yourself, I really think it's a bad idea to put your wife working for you. I think it's a really bad idea.
And his idea on labor as a whole.
There's 7 bedrooms with between 15 and 20 workers per room.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. They gave us 70 dirham per day. This room we gave 3,200 dirham per month.
In the next room, we met workers who had similar stories, but were working for a subcontractor building a golf course bearing the name of one of America's leading presidential candidates.
There is a big development called the Trump International Golf Club. Is that where you worked recently? Is this the entrance?
Yes.
How many of you, when you arrived, had your passports taken away by the company?
Total passport. These workers now find themselves trapped and working on a development which bears both Trump's name and face, helping to sell the $1 million plus homes that will soon be complete. Trump himself came to formally launch the project.
We're building Trump International Golf Club, and it's going to be spectacular right in Dubai, and it's going to be something very, very special.
So what does this mean exactly?
Trump owned slaves. In case you missed it and didn't know, Trump owned slaves. I used to work for Vice documentary and HBO, and Vice did a documentary on Trump owning slaves in Dubai. And I think that documentary is extremely relevant right now, as we just heard Trump say that, maybe for immigrants, what can happen is that their owners can take responsibility of them if they work on farms or in hotels or just in different industries. So what happened in Dubai is something that is not uncommon that happens in Dubai, is where a contractor puts a call out to other countries to have immigrants come migrate to Dubai, and they take their passports and they shove them basically in a cell. There's not enough beds per person. They have to sleep in shifts, one, because they have to work too much, and two, because there's no room, toilets overflow, they have no water, they have no food. And what they do is they say, sure, you can leave if you pay to get your passport back. The thing is, they also have to pay daily rent, and their daily wages are less than their daily rent, thus putting them in debt, into servitude, and they get stuck. The issue here is that Trump was well aware that it happened.
Shout out to Tommy Brown for her TikTok recapping their work in Dubai. When journalist Molly Crabapple researched Trump's courses in Dubai, thus catching wind of a press conference he and Ivanka Trump would be attending, she was in the building. Crabapple stood out for this reason and this reason only. When the room opened up for questions, Crabapple stood up and said, "Mr. Trump, the workers who build your villas make less than $200 a month. Are you satisfied?" It was deathly silent. And just like that, reports Crabapple, Trump stayed mute. "That's not an appropriate question," says the paid-for publicist on behalf of the Trumps. The next media member would just trudge forward, business as usual, asking a question completely unrelated. Brown would also mention in her video that Polish workers sued Donald Trump in the 1980s because of slave-like wages, where the crew had 12-hour shifts, no gloves, hard hats, masks, and they practically built Trump Tower, from the New York Times. Their treatment led to years of litigation over Mr. Trump's labor practices, and in 1998, despite frequent claims that he would never settle lawsuits, Mr. Trump quietly reached an agreement to end a class action suit over the Bonwit Tower demolition, in which he was a defendant. In unsealed documents by Loretta A. Preska, a United States District Court judge for the Southern District, it would show Trump paid over $1.3 million to settle. The case is called Hardy v. Kaczynski. $500,000 of it went to a union benefits fund, and the rest to pay lawyers' fees and expenses. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/tytsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.